Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy, a typical security guard, coming to you from the Security Guard channel with tonight's Security Guard radio broadcast. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in. As always, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the opportunity to share my thoughts and feelings and opine about the security industry. Things that are good, things that are bad. It's been really, really good utilizing this platform and doing these radio broadcasts because I feel like it gives me an opportunity to kind of connect with you guys. I really enjoy making videos and editing and sharing information with you guys. But this platform here, doing it in this fashion, I feel like I can get so much more across to you guys. So one of the things that I wanted to do was kind of an ask me anything type day. So I put up a post and I said, ask me anything, drop your thoughts below. Wanted to hear from you guys, see what you wanted to ask me, what you wanted to talk about. And a couple of you guys actually responded. So tonight, I'm going to answer some of your questions. First question comes in from Gunny Daddy Beagle. I have no idea what would possess you to have a name like that, but that's the name you have, and that's the name I'm going to respond to. So the question was, if armed, what would be your favorite issued sidearm ammo for an agency on a tight budget? Well, guys, listen, I'm kind of new to firearms. I've been focusing on firearms for the past year and a half, close to 2 years. And I generally just use a critical defense ammo, 9mm. And I utilize whatever I can get. Over the past year and a half, things have been really tight ammo-wise. I have a great instructor. His name is Greg Fishback at Defensive Arts Center. And generally, he provides me with a lot of the ammunition that I use for my critical defense ammo. Without having the box in front of me right now, Gunny, I really don't know what exactly that brand is. But, I typically try to buy something that I've used before, that I've shot before, and that I feel comfortable with. But without having that directly in front of me, it's hard to give you that answer. But if you're on a tight budget, the answer is going to be whatever you can afford. But also make sure that whatever you're using, it cycles. You have to make sure, if you're in charge of training, or if you're in charge of providing this resource to this group of individuals, you have to make sure that they're getting to the range and they're shooting a lot. You've got to cycle through thousands of rounds of ammunition so people know how their firearm is going to respond to that ammunition. One of the things that I see a lot when I go to the gun range is people will unload their duty ammo and they'll load up their range ammo. Clearly, your full metal jacket ball ammo is a lot cheaper than your critical defense. And they'll go through, 300 or more rounds of that range ammunition. And then right before they leave, they reload up their duty ammunition. You've got to fire that duty ammunition. You have to make sure that it's going to cycle, that it's going to feed, that it's going to work the way that it's supposed to. And if you're not putting those equal rounds through your firearm, you're really doing yourself a disservice in thinking that gun's going to function the same way when you need it. So that would be my best advice, price-wise, what you can afford, but also something that is going to work when you need it. The next question comes from Tiger Frazier, and he says, thoughts on security officers driving unmarked police interceptors as personal cars and putting lights in unarmed police interceptors. I am not a big fan of this phenomenon of loading cars up with lights. Two things. Number one, is such a cringe thing when I see security guards with all of these fucking lights in your car. It's like, it's not even that there's lights in the car. It's just like most of the security guards that are running lights, specifically those guards who have the ability to put the lights in themselves, it ends up turning the car into a fucking spaceship. I mean, there's lights on the side of the vehicle, there's lights on the top, there's lights inside the vehicle, there's lights under the vehicle. It's too much. And I think that, the stereotype of security guards being try-hard, security guards doing too much, I think that the light phenomenon, it plays right into that stereotype. And, if you're doing stereotypical things, then you're not atypical. And I tend to not like things that would make me stereotypical. Now, I say that being the guy that has a fucking, duty vest with like 15,000 things hanging off of it. So, I have my own issues that I need to deal with and kind of address myself. But I'm not a big fan of lights in security guards, cars. I think if you're going to put lights in, stick with amber. I don't think they need to be any, crazy colors. I don't think you need to have a ton of lights. And then as far as the unmarked police interceptor, that is just, again, it's just something that like is so stereotypical of a guy who's trying to be a cop. Personally, I think that if you're driving that Dodge Charger, you're driving that Crown Vic, it just reeks of being stereotypical. Now, I say all that. If that's what you want to do, it's like the guy in Boogie Nights, do what you dig. I'm not here to shit on anybody, and I wouldn't really ever give anybody a hard time. I don't think that I ever have. But Tiger, you did ask me the question, and that is my answer. I'm not a big fan of either, but, I understand why people do it. You can pick up some of these vehicles extremely cheap. If you get them as a decommissioned vehicle, you can get a great Dodge Charger. You can get a great Crown Vic with a really good engine, you know what I mean, for a really good price. If you're starting a security company and you want to provide cars to your company employees, that's a great way to go. Government auctions or municipal auctions, great way to go. And then also, if you're just looking for a reliable car that has a really good service record, because police departments, sheriff's departments, they're going to keep really good records as to what was done to the vehicle, the maintenance of the vehicle. So I can also see that. So just as much as it, like, from a personal standpoint, I'm not a fan of it, I also do understand why so many people do it. And if that's what you're into, I'm not here to give you a hard time. Personally, that's just how I feel. The next question comes from Popcorn Ken, and he says, is $21 an hour for an armed security guard in Texas worth it? Now, I don't know what part of Texas you're in. If you're living in Austin, if you're living in Dallas, I'm going to assume the cost of living is a little bit higher than if you're living in, say, Wichita Falls or, Texarkana, right? So if you're in one of those smaller areas, $21 probably is a pretty good wage. If you're living in some of those more densely populated, more popular places, maybe that's kind of like a little bit above average. Again, I didn't look to see what the median income is, but the bigger question is $21 an hour for an armed security guard enough for you to do the job? Because that's really what it comes down to. A lot of times I hear people complaining about, the pay for security guards, or, the respect that security guards get or don't get, or the accolades or something similar to that. And guys, look, this isn't a union. We're not all working, under the same contract. Each one of us, we have different desires. We have different things that we're looking for, different things that we're looking to get out of this industry. If $15, $10, $12 is enough, then I'm not here to tell you that you shouldn't do that job. If you need more, if you expect more, if you feel like you deserve more, then you have to also advocate for that yourself. So no one can answer how much is enough for you. I can say what I think is enough for the industry, but for you personally, that's a decision that you have to make. And I really would like to see more security guards taking control of their own narrative. Take control of your own narrative, your own career, and decide what is good enough for you. And if you feel like you deserve more, I want you to advocate for more. But I want you to be able to articulate why you should be getting more money. What are you bringing to the table? Have you trained? Are you certified? Are you doing something different than the guy that's right next to you? If you are, then you do deserve more money. And you've got to articulate that to the people that are cutting the contracts for you or that you're working for. And guys, listen, if you're worth it, you can get it. So that would be my question to you, or my answer to you, excuse me. The next question came from Leonardo Torres, and Leonardo gave me like 8 questions. So I'm going to answer each and every one of them. He asked if I wear basketball shoes or boots. I wear boots, and I use the Merrell Moab 2 boot. You guys can find these on Amazon. They're like $160, and they're the most comfortable boots that I have ever used. And I am now on my third pair. I absolutely love them. He asked, do you use pepper spray or pepper gel? Pepper gel. And I'm going to tell you the reason why. I have pepper sprayed myself 3 times since I got into security. Yes, 3 times. You would think that after the first time I would have figured out not to use pepper spray, but I didn't. It took me 3 times before I switched to pepper gel, because pepper gel does not dissipate in the air like pepper spray does. Pepper gel does not generally bounce off the person that's in direct contact with you or directly across from you when you're spraying them. I have had 3 horrible experiences going hands-on with people while working in security and literally pepper spraying myself. I'm not happy to say that. I take no pride in it. I'm extremely embarrassed, but I'm transparent. And yeah, I got it just as much as they did. Since switching to pepper gel, I've had much, much better success. But guys, one thing that you have to understand, if you pepper spray someone or if you pepper gel someone and you are still going hands-on with this person, or you have to go hands-on with this person, more than likely you're going to get some of that in your eyes or on your face. And you need to be able to fight through that. If you've gone through any sort of security training, if you've gone through corrections work training or law enforcement, they pepper spray you right when you're getting certified, and you have to fight through it for 30 seconds to a minute. And that's very important, because the fight doesn't stop because you're incapacitated. And more than likely, if you pepper spray someone or you pepper gel someone, you're going to have to still put in that work, especially if you have to handcuff that person. So I can't tell you guys enough how important it is that you train with your pepper spray. You guys should be getting sprayed once a year to get recertified. And if you're not doing that, you're doing yourself a grave disservice. He asked about, speaking of pepper spray, pepper gel, that kind of stuff, he asked about the bina gun, B-Y-N-A or B-Y-R-N-A. I'm not exactly sure how it's spelled, but it's basically a pepper ball gun. I have seen this gun. I did look into this gun, but here's my thought. I'm not a fan of pepper guns at all. Pepper ball guns, pepper spray guns. I think that when you draw something that even remotely resembles a gun, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're escalating something even higher. We talk about all the times the issues here in Portland, the perception of things here in Portland. I think that could go south. And then also, one of the things for anyone that's working in security, you really should not be carrying something that you're not certified in. And when I looked into this product at the time, the only way that you could get certified in it was to go through one of their programs. And there were very few places throughout the country that were offering the certification. I wouldn't want to carry something and utilize it and not have an official certification on that. I think that's a recipe for disaster if you were to end up in court and had to argue that. That being said, I think that now maybe there are some classes or some certifications, maybe even online certifications. It's not for me, but for someone who's working unarmed, maybe that's something that you would want to utilize. It's not something that I would use, but again, to each their own. One of the other questions he asked was, who was the first YouTube security guard you ever watched? And guys, that's the OG, man, DEFCON 3 security. When I got into this, I was looking for information, and most of the stuff that was out there, it was, 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. The only person that had consistent information was DEFCON 3 security. The only person that had new and what I thought pertinent information. He was talking about things from the perspective that I would talk about things, and I've kind of patterned my videos and my channel after his. I've tried to pick up kind of where he left off and try to help push the security industry forward in the way that he also did. I have huge respect for him. I've talked to him a couple of times and wish nothing but the best for him. But he was the first person that I found, and he's been a huge inspiration to me. And I really, really cannot say enough positive things about him. Another question was, do you eat out a lot while working? Unfortunately, the answer to that is yes, as I've put on probably about 40 pounds in the past year, which I've got to fix. I'm so out of shape and so heavy right now. And most of that comes from the fact that I work primarily in a grocery store, and I end up eating on almost every break. That's a really, really bad habit that I need to break. Do you work on post or in a vehicle patrol? And it depends on which company I'm working for. The company that I work for primarily, it's a standing post, but I roam on foot doing foot patrols. But I do work for another company downtown in a really dangerous area of Portland, and that is vehicle patrol. And that vehicle patrol will take you to multiple locations throughout the city, and then you have to do foot patrols. But I haven't worked for those guys in quite a while. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue. I hope to do more work with them, as they are an absolutely great outfit, and I really, really appreciate and respect what they're doing. Hope to work with them again soon. What's one tool that both unarmed and armed guards need? Well, it's going to be the thing that most people who are over the age of 40 have the biggest issue with, and that's your cell phone. Everybody needs a cell phone. Everything that we do in security at this point, going into this century and beyond, it's going to be through our cell phone. Tracking, clocking in, clocking out, taking pictures, logging information, writing reports, contacting the police if need be. Everything, it can be done through our cell phone. It is such an amazing tool, and it literally it's not only a lifesaver, but it's a lifeline to every aspect of what we're doing and what we need in this industry. But I understand most people who own companies, most people who are a little bit older, they have this real bug up their ass about officers having their cell phones, and I get it. Most people feel like the officers aren't being effective. They're not paying attention. They're on social media. I get all that. I understand the need to have boundaries, but this attitude of not having your phone or not having a phone with you because it's something that an older generation has an issue with, I think we're really doing ourselves a disservice by not integrating the phone into what we do more. I can see so many ways that the personal cell phone could be of great benefit to security across the board. But, I'm one person and most people don't like to listen to what I say. So, but maybe that'll change going forward. And then the last question from him was, what's your favorite flashlight? And that's going to be the Pelican 7600. I have a review on the Pelican 7600. Partly what I like about it, it's damn near a Streamlight, but it's cheaper. It's like $50. I think you can order it off of Amazon. You can plug it in, charge it up. It's got 2 or 3 different settings. It's got 2 or 3 different colors. It has a flash mode. I mean, it's an absolutely a great product, a great steal for a great price. And I have a review on that in my video section here as well. Pistolero asked, how is the new house? Guys, my house is the fucking shit. I cannot wait to show you guys what we have done to this house. It blows my mind. Now, I will say that, you know what? I'm not going to even get into it. I'm gonna save it for its own video because it deserves its own video to do it justice. But I'm very happy with the house. The house is fucking badass. And he asked if I got my own man room. Well, I'm going to save that for the video as well. But I'll say this. I'm very, very happy with what we have going on right now. Connor Dillon asked, why do you still live in one of the least free states in the country? Well, Connor, Oregon isn't actually, it's a beautiful state. The problem with Oregon is not Oregon, it's Portland. Portland is, the largest city, the largest populated city here in Oregon, and all of the problems that plague the state of Oregon come from Portland. And it's partly due to the fact that so many liberals are trying to rewrite history by being more compassionate, more lenient, and more tolerant than the previous generation of Portlanders. If you read the history of Oregon, Oregon has an extremely racist past. And Oregon has some horrible history with what it's done to minorities. And I think that with each generation, they've tried to somehow kind of atone for that. And their idea of atonement is to be more and more accepting of unacceptable behavior. It's a real crazy situation here. And this is me, coming in from the Midwest and kind of being an outsider looking at all this. I think the intention of what Portland wants to be is really, really good, but the practice, it just doesn't make sense practically. And aside from that, the money is really good here in Portland. I really enjoy my job. I enjoy all of the surrounding areas of Portland. I just don't necessarily like Portland that much. But unfortunately, this is where I work and this is how I feed my family and pay my bills until an opportunity presents itself where I can make the same amount of money potentially and be somewhere that offers me the beauty and the scenery of Oregon itself. Aside from Portland, I don't know that I'll necessarily move. My goal would be to move out of the city of Portland and into a more secluded, more rural area, which there's lots of those around, but everybody has that idea right now. The housing market's crazy here. In order to get just a basic home, you're talking about right at $500,000. So to find a property that's more secluded, that's more rural, that's off the grid, you're looking at, a ton of money. And then with that, you're talking about traveling depending on where you're working. So to answer your question, I like it here. I like the state. I just don't like the city that I'm in. But I can mitigate that by traveling and getting out of town, taking vacations, taking breaks. So until something changes where I can make the same amount of money that I'm making now somewhere that's outside of Portland, I'm probably going to be here for the foreseeable future. So that has been my question and answer. I want to do this again. I like this concept. I want to try it again, but we'll go ahead and wrap it up like that. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And as always, guys, listen, all you have to do is reach out to me, comment on the things that I post, email me, contact me, utilize me, right? I'm here to help educate, motivate, train, and inform. And as always, guys, listen, I want you to go out there. I want you to be safe. I want you to watch your six, and I want you to be great. Okay? Be great.